Imagine an instant 30% increase in your sales with the exact same traffic you have now. Look, 69.8% of online shoppers abandon their shopping carts. That means we're roughly losing out on 7 out of every 10 potential sales. Look, when it comes to frameworks, this simple psychology-based framework will help us recoup some of those sales so we turn more visitors into customers. Hey, I'm Jason, faith-based entrepreneur and marketing geek. Timestamps below, along with some other helpful links and resources, including a link to our funnel template pack that has our top converting funnel pages, email campaign, and course template so you can go from idea to sales in record time. Now, when it comes to the checkout section of our sales funnel, we have one job to do. Don't screw up the sale. Really, that's it. By this point, someone has probably already joined our email list. They've gone through our sales page. Maybe they've already seen some sales emails, depending upon how we formatted our sales funnel. So we are like on the 1 yard line here. We are about to close the sale, so we're just trying not to mess it up. Now, when it comes to the strategy and structure of your funnel, there's 2 different ways that you can handle this part. The first way, which is the way I recommend, is just have the checkout page essentially just a section of your sales page. Saves some headache, and you might as well have it there anyway. They're already on the page. Let's go ahead and continue the process. Or depending upon your software stack, or maybe you want to send people to a completely different system to do the checkout or get their access, then you might want to have a separate checkout page. Now, either way, we have you covered with the template linked up in the description. You can do it both ways, and you can build it out. So whichever method you decide to use, we have you covered. Now, to make sure our checkout section is in fact securing more sales and reducing cart abandonment, we're going to use the STAR framework. It stands for Secure Seals, Trusting Testimonials, All Access, and of course, risk removal. So let's go ahead, kick things off with the most important one, which is secure access. Look, we need people to view this page as safe and secure. So even though someone's made it this far in our sales process, they probably have a healthy amount of skepticism because they're about to take their credit card and enter it into some random page, right? So we need to communicate that we're not a scam and their information is safe, secure, and not going to be sold. And the easy way to do this is to just have some sort of seals on the page right by the checkout to show that your payment information is secure. Now, if you're doing a payment processor like Stripe, everything's going to be 256-bit encryption. And I actually just used Canva to make some of these graphics and icons. And if you're using Systemi to build your pages, then they will actually show the credit card logos as well. They've actually done research, and showing the credit card logos actually increases conversions and makes people more secure. Of course, I also have a little bit of text under there saying that we're not going to rent or sell their information, right? They buy this one $5 or $6 product, and then the next day their email's like blowing up because we sold it to 12 different people instantly, which is technically against the Can Spam app anyway, but act. I said app, Can Spam app. Act anyway, but we don't have to get into that. So essentially, all that we're doing here is we are saying, hey, your information's secure. We're not stealing it. We're not selling it. And you're not going to get an alert tomorrow morning from your credit card company for fraud. And so that's all we have to do with secure seals here. Then the next step is trusting testimonials. And this is different than testimonials you have in other parts of your sales page and your sales process. Here, these testimonials should be short, sweet, and to the point, right? Like they should be 1 or 2 lines max. We don't want someone clicking on a testimonial video and then spending 10 or 15 minutes going through a bunch of testimonial videos here. So I've seen some sales pages that do that. If you have testimonial videos, awesome. Put them somewhere else. Don't put them here. We want things to be short and sweet, and we're all just trying to communicate to the customer, if I can get it out, all just trying to communicate to the customer that other people have also gone through this checkout process and not been scammed. That's kind of what we're doing here. We're just building as much trust as possible for them to enter their credit card on what they might perceive as a random website. So once we have those testimonials, then we have all access. And here we are just restating what it is that they're getting. Now, this is really key. I'm going to break this rule in a moment, welcome to marketing, but do not add anything new. We want zero confusion. So we are literally going to use the same images we used other places in our sales process and sales page. You could literally just copy and paste the description of what they're getting from a different part of your sales page. Have just a quick list of everything that's included. If we have some bonuses, we'll talk about those here as well. And nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, should be new. There's no surprises here whatsoever. Surprises and bonuses and extra things is bad when it comes to this part of the sales process. Except if you have a order bump. And so this is a simple strategy you can use. Pretty much any funnel builder these days allows you to do it. And this is going to be where you have a really, really low ticket, like couple dollars, $10, $15 max offer. This is the only part of the checkout process where you might introduce something new. Everything else, though, will be the same. So then we go into risk removal. And of course, this is making it as much of a no-brainer to purchase your product or service as possible. I am always a huge fan of offering some version of guarantees. So in this particular example, I do like a 60-day money-back guarantee, and make sure it's really clear in your list of what they're getting, listed out like a feature of the product. And then I also used Canva to make this really overly simplistic graphic, right? Saying 30 or 60 days. And so that's all there is to it, to risk reversal. Now, I always get pushback on this, but look, if someone's going to take advantage of it, someone's going to take advantage of it. And we really, as entrepreneurs, do not have time to run around fighting credit card companies when we get chargebacks. So it's better to deal with excessive refunds than waste your time with excessive chargebacks. And if you're not familiar, that's when someone calls up their credit card company and says that you scam them. And because you sell stuff online and they're a consumer, obviously the credit card company will side with the consumer. It's actually a really hard uphill battle. So with that does it for the STAR framework and every element we need to reduce that shopping cart abandonment and hopefully boost those conversions. Now I'm back to our demo funnel here. And when you import this into your Systemi account, you'll actually notice that we don't have a standalone checkout page. We put the checkout section as part of the sales page. So if I jump out of this, you'll see that our sales page is actually using the order form page style. So you, of course, have two options. You can use this where we just have the checkout function on the sales page. But if for some reason you wanted to split them up, here's what you can do. You can go ahead and jump back in here to edit page. And the first thing you're going to want to do is essentially save this top section. Now, the reason we did it this way is because there's limits on the free plan of how many pages you can use. So we thought, hey, why don't we combine these pages? And then for people who upgrade in the future, or if you just want them separate for some reason, you can separate them and use 2 pages instead of 1. So the first thing we want to do is save the section that is the actual sales page. So we've set it up so it's super easy. So all you need to do is click on this first section here. So I'll click on this section. We'll click on save, and you'll see here that it's going to save just the sales page part. And we can go ahead and give it a name, and then we can go ahead and click on create. And then this way you can easily use everything that is formatted for the sales page in the future. So of course I'm not going to do that. I'll X that out. And then if you want to turn this into a standalone checkout page, all we have to do is remove this row. So as soon as I go ahead and remove this row here, sorry, not row, section. So if I go ahead and remove this section, I'll go ahead and delete it. You'll see it will automatically pull up the checkout page part of this. And now we just have a checkout page. We can hit save, and we've already gone through how to save that top portion so you can use it someplace else in your funnel. I know it's a little quirky, but it just makes sure that if you want a standalone checkout page, it's really easy to take off the sales page part. But if you want to keep the sales page part, it's also there for you too. So I'll go ahead and not save any of that. And I'll go ahead and click on edit page again so we can go ahead and start setting up our checkout section. And of course, if you decided to create this as a standalone page, everything we're about to go through is the exact same. Now, the first part of our checkout section will be the secure seals. So you can see here, I have a couple right here that we made inside of Canva. You, of course, can go ahead and make your own seals. Like, these are generic things in Canva. I'm pretty sure you can find them and copy them pretty quick, even if you're on the free plan. So I just have a image of 256 encryption because we're using Stripe, 30-day money-back guarantee, which is technically part of your risk removal, and then just I wanted 3. And so I just did the stars thumbs up, right? It doesn't actually mean anything, but what does mean something is we will not share your information. I think it's really important to still include that on pages because sharing of information and email spam really is still a problem. So that does it for your secure seals section. So then we have some testimonials, and you'll see here these are very, very short. All you need to do to update them is click on the image here. You will need to format the image in a circle already. And of course, you can play with the image sizing as well. I'll just go ahead and leave it at 81 because I think that sizing looks pretty good. And what's also nice is when you upload your own images, they should drop in around the same size. And of course, if you have video testimonials, put them in a different section, put them in a different part of your sales process. So that's pretty much it for the testimonials. I'll get to all this desktop only stuff in a moment. And then for all access, we want to, of course, have a image of our offer. If you have a video sales letter at the top and maybe you didn't put a product image anywhere else, just make sure you have some image that represents what the offer is. The offer name, congratulations, the offer name, super basic. You're probably like, why are we even going through this, right? We're just trying not to screw up the sale. Like, that's literally all we have to do here. Just don't screw up the sale. And then we'll get to all the payment stuff because that kind of gets advanced. And then, of course, over here, we have just a couple bullet points summarizing the discount, right? So I like having that timer at the top along with a huge percent discount. So here we're saying the dollar amount that they're saving, a quick little overview of everything that they're getting. And then for the risk removal part, of course, I have a 30-day money-back guarantee that I have here. Actually, on my sales page, it says 90, so I should probably change this to 90 because that is confusing. And then I'd go ahead and type in, 90 days here. Now, before I get to the one thing that we would add here that breaks the rule of trying not to mess up the sale, is you'll see here that all of these elements have been formatted to desktop only. This is really something to think about, especially when you're making your checkout sections. So if I click on mobile here, and I scroll down to our checkout section, you'll see that this part looks pretty nice, but all the bullet points and all the testimonials went away. I might actually even remove my self-testimonial at the bottom. So this is if you don't have testimonials. This is where, of course, you'd put your self-quote and just put yourself at the very bottom. But I think it's important to make sure that you're always previewing whatever you're making in the mobile view, because here, if we tried to add the testimonials and add all of the summary, I think that would take away too much from just completing the payment form, right? And honestly, someone on a mobile device is much more likely to be doing an impulse buy than like meticulously going through every individual thing on your sales page. So we do want it to be relatively easy and quick for someone to go through that process. But we click again, you'll see all that extra information is on the desktop. Now there is one thing we might want to add, just one, that breaks the rules. So I'm using a two-step form. We'll go through how that works in a moment. But if I go to step number 2, you'll see here I have something called a order bump, right? So this is going to be where for an extra 3, 5, 7, maybe $14. I think 14 is probably a little high, but a quick little offer. Hey, you can also get this thing right now. Now, if your one-time offer is a impulse buy, this is like the ultra impulse buy, right? Like this should be so low. It's just like, yeah, whatever, sure, throw it in the cart, right? It's like 50 cents. Well, probably not 50 cents, but that's kind of the price point we're going for here. Now, yes, it still needs to be valuable, and we also need to make sure that someone doesn't look at it and go, I think that should be in what I'm buying. Feels like you're just adding it on because you're trying to get more money. So it really should feel like a nice little add-on bonus. But that's the only new thing we'd want to do. And Systemi, of course, will add some credit card logos for us, which helps with the secure seals and adding some credibility and security to our checkout process. So that does it for all of the elements that we'd want. And using our STAR framework, secure seals, trusting testimonials, and all access, and of course, risk removal. So now let's talk about the complex part, which is this two-step payment form, and then actually setting up your payment options. Now, when it comes to the order form, this is actually something unique to this particular page type. So when you are creating your own funnels and not using this template, you need to make sure you select the order form page type when creating your page in order to have these payment options. Again, that is one of the few parts when you're building things that is really important you choose the correct page type. So I'll go ahead and click and drag in this two-step order form so you can see what it looks like before you start doing all the formatting. So the first thing we're going to do, take out all the stuff we don't need, right? We don't need the shipping address, city, state, postal code, unless you're actually physically shipping something. But for us, this is a digital product or even services, you don't need it. So we just go ahead and delete all this information. Just like other parts of your sales funnel, the more information you ask for, the lower your conversions will be. So I'd go ahead and just leave it first, last name, email, and then when I click on this, I'll have to click over here to step number 2 and to be able to see and edit whatever is on step number 2. So the nice advantage of using this two-step checkout is it reduces the initial friction to get started. And it builds on a psychological principle called micro commitments. And that is where we want our potential customers taking small actions that build up over time, as opposed to just like, bam, here's everything at once, fill it out and let's go, right? So it's just kind of baby steps. Also, it allows you to collect their contact information before they've actually purchased. So if for some reason they go through step number 1, but they don't go through step number 2, you can actually have an email automation that goes out to them and says, hey, you forgot to complete checkout. Come back and finish the checkout, which is really cool. Now, you do need to be on the paid plan to do that because you're going to run out of the limitations on automations, but it is something really cool you can do in the future if you decide to upgrade. Now, when it comes to further customizing this form, if you wanted to add another form field, all we'd have to do is head on over to our elements here, and we can go ahead and click and drag form input. And of course, we can move it where we want. And then, of course, we can come up here, click on it first, settings, and tell Systemi what kind of input field it is. And of course, it will be added to our customer's contact information. And so I'll go ahead and delete that. Now, the other thing that we'll want to do, if you want to customize how this looks, you see there's a bunch of extra text. Maybe we don't want all of that sub-headlines here. You can go ahead and remove those. So I won't spend too much time because by this point, you've probably figured out how to use Systemi. It's pretty easy. And of course, we already have it pre-formatted for you down here. But you'll notice that this is a order bump element. And just like the order form is unique to this type of page, the order bump element is. So I would put it in step number 2, and I go ahead and click, and I drag the order bump element here, and I will put it right beneath the credit card, and then I'm actually going to move the, if I can actually click it, move the summary of the order down below, because what will happen when you see when we create our payment settings, wow, Systemi, you're making me look really dumb right now. Come on, there we go. It's below. Is this will give a summary. So if they click the order bump, it'll also show them the order bump and their total price. And so we want to make sure that they clearly see the total price before they click the button. And actually the button, I don't like having subtext there for that. So there we go. And so when it comes to order bumps, you'll set up the pricing and everything in a little bit, but this is a basic format that we like to use. And this is just a really easy way to increase your average transaction value. This should be less than $10. I have order bumps that are $5, and I've seen order bumps as high as $17 or $19. I've seen some order bumps that are the same price as the offer, and sometimes they're more. But you know what? Who am I to judge? If it's converting and working, then by all means do it. But for the most part, it's going to be something that's significantly less than what your main offer is selling for. So I'll go ahead and delete that. And so with that, we are all set. We've designed the checkout page or the checkout section of our sales funnel. So now what we need to do, of course, is set up our payments, right? We need to choose how we can get paid, and then we also need to choose the actual pricing. So that's what we'll go ahead and do. I'll go ahead and exit here, and I'm not going to save those changes that I just made. Now, the first thing we need to do is set up our payment processors. So to do that, we'll hop on over to our settings here and click on payment gateways, and then you'll see a bunch of options here. Now, when it comes to the different options, I highly recommend, if you can't use Stripe, try and avoid PayPal, but if you have to use PayPal, oh well, but I wouldn't actually voluntarily use PayPal anymore. It's become quite a headache, and typically, especially with digital products, they almost always side with the customer, irrespective of what your terms of use are. And the refunds gets really murky, right? Because you want people to reach out to you to ask for refunds, but instead they start filing claims with PayPal, then PayPal gets upset, holds your money longer, and it's a mess, right? But also some of these other ones, I recently had a coaching student who found out that some of these other ones have limitations based upon the country you might be in. So make sure that you come up here to help and you go through Systemi's documentation for each one of these, because you may find that you think the payment processor is going to be able to do what you want, but for whatever reason, there might be some limitations that you haven't thought of. I'm lucky, I'm in the States, so I can use Stripe, and Stripe works just fine. Luckily, I haven't had any problems, I shouldn't say any problems. I've had problems with them, but not so many problems where I'd say you got to find something else. And so that's all there is to setting up your payment gateways. So now I'll jump back over to our funnel, and it's time to set up our pricing. So the first one, I'll do it relatively quickly, right? We just click the plus button. If you wanted to connect your course or membership site or a community, that's what you can do under resources. And then we can go ahead and choose a pricing plan that we already have and click on save. Now, of course, if you're doing this for the first time or you want to create a new pricing plan for the same product, then we can go ahead and click the plus button here, and we can actually create a new one. And so this is going to be where you give your pricing plan a name. Now this name is going to show up on the actual sales page. So it should pretty much be exactly whatever the offer is called. Then this name is your internal one, right? So maybe you have in parentheses version 1 or the actual price point, like the $97 one. And this is the $195 version or whatever, if you're like playing with different combinations of products. And or you might just be testing different price points for the same product. And then the descriptor, this is where you want to be super plain, super boring, take off your marketing hat, take off your sales hat, and just think like an accountant, right? Because this is what's going to show up on their bank statement. So don't embarrass your customers with what you put there, right? I'll have that, we're going through things and you look at it and go, what on earth did you buy, sweetie? So anyway, go ahead and make sure that it's professional, right? And then of course the pricing plan, you choose the type it is. So like, let's say we have a payment plan here, or you want to have a free trial period. My gosh. You can get complex like that. Or we can just go ahead and say a subscription, which also has a trial period, or go down to a one-time payment, and we'll just say this is going to be like $50 or something. And then we could go ahead and click save. So I'll go ahead and exit out of that because we don't need to do that. Now, if you want to have an order bump, you do need to add that information here. So I'll click on add order bump. It's going to be a digital product, and I'll click on pricing plan. And of course, I'd need to create a new plan. Now, because I already have one, I'll go ahead and exit out, and I will just use the same pricing plan that I used for the first one here. So they allow me to do that. I'll go ahead and click on save. And just like that, we've set up our pricing for both of our products. So now if we come to view funnel step here and we preview, we can come down to our checkout page or checkout page section, fill out some fake information, click on continue here. And now you can see there's a place to enter your credit card information. They have the types of credit card processors, the types of credit cards that are accepted. And then what's also cool here is as soon as someone clicks here, you'll see that it will be added to their summary so they can see exactly how much they're about to be charged. Now, this is also important where you need to check your math and numbers, right? So if you're hard coding, if you will, if you're typing in what the price is, you want to make sure that the price here is the same here. And then you also want to make sure that if you have any prices over on the side, you have a % discount, that the percentages make sense, the dollars off make sense, and the totals make sense. So just do that to make sure you don't wind up like me with some embarrassing emails being sent like, hey, by the way, there's a decimal point there, or you divided by 4 when you should have divided by 2. I did that in an email the other month, and I looked and went, wow, yeah, I have no idea what I was thinking. So definitely double check your math. But with that, once you have those payment things set up, you're ready to actually collect payments and start making some sales because your checkout section is complete. Oh, and of course we have our confirmation page. So if we jump back over to our funnel here, this final section, if you want to round out your sales process, we are using the thank you page under the sales section. So this is important. This tells Systemi the sales process is complete, especially if you are going to be using upsells. So for example, if I didn't want to use an upsell, I would just put this order confirmation page right after our order form, and that tells Systemi the checkout process is complete. And here's a quick example of what it looks like. And this is important because it has this product and price element. And this will give them an order summary of all of the main products they purchased, their subscriptions or free trials, as well as any order bumps or upsells they purchased as well. And you can tell it's relatively simple, just telling people, hey, some emails are on the way with access, and then you can either have links to your community groups or socials, or even another funnel that you think funnel offer, just another funnel that has an offer that you think would be helpful to them. And so with that, now we are completely done with our checkout process. And you are well on your way to becoming a funnel building champion. So remember, everything we did here, you can do with the free version of Systemi and the templates inside of the template pack below. That also includes some email campaigns as well as a course framework that you can copy to get up and running as quickly as possible. So hit that like button, subscribe for more marketing guides just like this one, and until the next, keep building the business you love.